How's everybody doing? Hey! Hello, everybody. My name is Jarvis Green. Those of y'all who don't know me, I am what would you say, our comms director. I run all of our graphics, all of our website, and our live stream things that we do here. And I've enjoyed doing that the last 5 years. I've been glad to be a part of Brownwood Community Church. And a little bit about myself. I am from Mesquite, Texas, the Dallas area. Those of y'all don't know where Mesquite is. I come from a big, loving, beautiful black family from South Dallas. And some of them are watching right now. Grandma, hey. um, yeah, I'm from Mesquite. I grew up there my entire life, went to school in Abilene, and came here maybe 5 or 6 years ago and have loved being in Brownwood ever since. And it's led me here. And so that kind of leads me into what we're going to be talking about today. We've all had that person in our lives. And that could be anybody that comes to mind. That person that came in out of nowhere and maybe changed something in your life along the way. And maybe you've said something like phrases like this: I'm so glad that he or she showed up in my life when they did. Or I'm not sure I would have made it through this without her or without him. Uh, and I wouldn't be where I am today apart from them. And so some of those come to mind for me. I love my family. My family, they're always laughing, they're always happy, and just love to be around one another. So any chance I get whenever we're at home, I just love sitting and talking with them for hours. Especially my dad, my brother, and my grandma. And then I'm sure y'all have had people like this in your life. You've got mentors like Scotty. I don't have enough words for this man right here for just investing in my life and just willing to be a part of my life and lead me. Dang, I'm the same as Scotty. When I start talking about stuff, I start getting emotional. So bear with me. We're the same person. But you might have mentors in your life like Scotty who just come in and just turn your world upside down in the best way possible. And then you've got these little people in the back who I love dearly, but can can make your life a little crazy. I'm talking about our youth here. They come in and they ask crazy questions like, what does God look like? Where did God come from? Is heaven gonna be dope? Like, hanging around the youth, you'll hear all kinds of questions. They're not afraid to ask questions, and that's what I love about hanging out with them. And then can't forget my wife and her family. Uh, they're the best. I love my in-laws. I don't know about some of y'all. If y'all have in-laws who are as cool as mine, I don't think y'all do. My in-laws are the best people on the planet. And so there's phrases. I'm sure my Aunt Dee said this to me like last week on Facebook. There's no Jarvis without his wife Jordan, and they aren't wrong. My wife, she's one of those people that came in literally out of nowhere one day and changed my life. And now she's my wife. We've just celebrated our 2-year anniversary last week. So, but yeah, she came into my life at just the right time. I'm sure y'all have had people like that in your lives that had just showed up out of nowhere, and just changed your world. And they may have come in and given us insight and encouragement. Two of my favorite encouragers are sitting right here in the front, Katie's. The Katies are some of the biggest encouragers in my life, and I'm so thankful for them. You've got friends that I've grown up with that I can name off on my hand that are still in my life almost 30 years later. And then sometimes they give perspective and hope. They help you think about things differently than you're used to thinking. Sometimes they give you correction and confrontation when you need it. The real ones will. Your real friends will. The people that really invest in your life and who love you will confront you about some stuff that you maybe shouldn't be doing or maybe need to change in your life. But yeah, we're talking about people that have come into your life and have changed it for the better. Who comes to mind for y'all? Have you thanked them? Um, these are things that I'm starting to think about after going through this message and putting this together. So today we're getting in part 5 of Faithful, the Faithful series, and we're really just talking about Jesus calling us to be a part of a big active, all-in faith. That's what we're called to be, and He's inviting us to do that. And so we're going to get in. We've been getting into the things that help explain His invitation. Follow me. Um, and follow me. That was Jesus didn't water that down. It wasn't altered. It was simply that. Just follow me. Do and say as I do. And somewhere along the way, the church just reduced it to believe in me. Um, and believing, yes, we do need to believe. And this is something that Bill started us out with the first two series, or the first two messages with this, is believe in me. Uh, belief doesn't make a difference. Just believing is not what makes a difference. It's actually putting our belief and our beliefs into practice and acting these things out. Scotty mentioned this last week, that your faith is like a muscle. It's something that we need to practice and exercise. Those of y'all who know me, I love to exercise. So yeah, faith is something that we need to work on every single day. And just going to church alone won't grow your faith. And that's what we're going to be getting into, is not just going to church, but being a part of a community, a faith community that's going to help you grow. And so we've been talking about the different ingredients that make up what it looks like to grow in your faith. And so Bill started us out with practical teaching and personal ministry. So practical teaching is just basically when your active faith intersects with God's faithfulness. So both of those working in tandem. And then when people tell their faith story, they talk about a time that maybe they were pulled out of their comfort zone to do something that they never thought they would do. And so this, where personal ministry comes in. And then Scotty talked to us last week about private spiritual disciplines. So what are you doing to build your relationship with God on your own time? Are you being intentional about being in prayer or things like that? Really being intentional about your relationship with God. Today, I want to talk about providential relationships. So that's what I started us out with, is talking about relationships. Relationships are a huge part of who I am. I just love people. And I love getting to meet new people and hearing their stories and hearing where they come from and hearing their struggles and their wins and all these different things. And in providential relationships, Scotty told me this was going to be an easy one for me to talk about. And when I read through all this, I was like, yeah, this is easy, because I'm doing my best to live what we're talking about today out. And so our faith journeys usually consist of someone who has had an impact on our life, and that has helped us grow our faith. And it's basically like God dropped them right into your life at just the right time. You could call it divine intervention, but it's basically a friend that got up in your business one day, and you probably didn't want them to, but then now you're looking back on it, I'm really glad that they did. So maybe you've played that role in someone's life. Maybe you've been the one that stuck your nose in and wanted to be nosy and help somebody out. But what I want to tell y'all today is God uses relationships to grow our faith. God uses the people in this room, the people you surround yourself with day in and day out. He uses those people to grow our faith. And Jesus, in the book of John, Jesus invites Philip to follow him. And Philip is excited. He gets excited and he realizes, hey, this is the Messiah. The Messiah has come. And he tells Nathanael, hey, the Messiah is here. I've met the Messiah. This is Jesus. And Nathanael hears that and he's like, yeah, I guess that's cool, but isn't he from Nazareth? Nazareth? Can anything good come from there? Now, Scotty has talked about this before, and he's mentioned that Put Brownwood in the place of Nazareth or wherever you're from. You hear that and you think, well, can anything good come out of Brownwood? Can anything good come out of wherever you're from? Can anything good come out of Nazareth? And so Nathaniel was kind of optimistic about, or he was kind of on the fence about this whole thing because of where Jesus was from. But Philip doesn't give up on Nate, and he continues to tell him. He just tells him to come and see. He tells him to come and see, and Nathaniel ends up doing so, and he ends up thanking Philip for the rest of his life that he decided to come and see. And so this hearing this in the book of John, this kind of reminds me of some moments in my life where I was kind of struggling with things faith-wise. There was a time where I think we had just moved into this building from Adams Street in like October of 2017 or something like that. I was struggling financially, and we had been having like our small groups after the service, and we were talking about tithing, which was something Scotty talked about last week. We were talking about tithing, and I felt like I couldn't give anything because I was giving so much to my apartment just to live that I didn't, like, if I gave anything, I felt like I wasn't going to eat. I was just struggling with this so much. And then these two amazing women stepped into my life. And y'all, I'm sure y'all know who they are. Glenda Lemke and Susie Harkey. They were at that table that day, and we were talking about finances. And they told me about, if you just give what you can, just a little bit, I bet there's going to be a time where you will never worry about money again. And I just started crying. I was messed up. I felt like I was struggling so hard financially when I was the first few years here. And I finally was just like, well, nothing else working, so I guess I should listen, huh? So I decided I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give what I can. I started doing that. And sure enough, Glenda said, hey, I got some food for you. Come eat. Susie tells me, hey, come over and watch my house and water my plants for an entire month while we out on vacation. I'll pay you and you can live here. Friends, hey, come over. We got some food. You want some pizza? Like, he would always find a way to provide for me, so I was never without. The point I was holding on to was that I was holding on to money. I was trying to hold on to what I thought I had, when really I just needed to give it to God and let him do the work. I was trying to do the work for him. So hearing that story and thinking about different things, like recently I've been dealing with some health issues, and so I've been kind of up and down with my faith right now. It's been difficult, but I know that he's good. I know that he is still with me, and he's given me an amazing, wonderful wife that I could not ask for a better wife to walk through all of this hardship right now with. But it shows that we have a tendency to have a potential to lose faith. And Hebrews kind of weighs in on our potential to lose faith. Hebrews says, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And to facilitate on holding unswervingly, and let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. Think about this. We're called to hype one another up. We're called to build each other up. KV is one of my biggest hype people on the planet. If you ever need to be hyped up, just ask KV. She will do it, and she'll make you feel amazing. But that's what it's about. We're here to build each other up and spur each other along in this faith journey, because it's not easy. But that's what God gave us each other. He gave us these relationships for a reason. So it's not just belief, but it's expressing it. Not giving up meeting together. I want to say that again. Not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing. We have a habit of drifting from community when things get hard. We have a habit of drifting from those who care about us because we feel like we need to take stuff on ourselves. But encouraging one another. Why do y'all think that is? It's because proximity matters. The people who are around you matter. The relationships that you have in your life matter. And those relationships can be huge faith builders. And people tend to lose faith when they lose contact with the people of faith that they're surrounded with. So usually the first sign of someone losing faith is they start fading into the distance. They start disappearing from church or whatever faith community that you're a part of. You start wondering where they're at, where they've been, how they've been doing. All this points to how critical relationships are in growing our faith. It's really hard to do this on your own. I know firsthand. But it's awesome when we see God's faithfulness in someone else's life. It's easier to trust them with ours. When you see someone else walking that faith that you want so bad out, it makes it easier. It's like, hey, maybe I can do this. They're doing it. Let me see if I can do it. Bill is one of those people. Every time I see Bill, he starts talking about Jesus, he starts crying. I want that because that's how much he loves him and how much he knows that Jesus loves him in his life and how big of an impact Jesus has been in his life. I want Bill's type of faith. And I hope y'all do too. It's huge to me. I thought it was weird at first, which Bill, if y'all know Bill is weird, but Bill is weird, but Bill is an amazing human. Bill's an amazing human who loves Jesus. And I love when he starts talking about Jesus and he starts crying because that means it's real to him and it makes it real for me. I'm getting emotional. But intentionality is key. Being intentional is key. Scotty literally said this last week. You can't invest in a relationship on accident. You can't build relationships with people by accident. It's all intentional. You have to be intentional with relationships. Relationships are like muscles too, just like your faith. You have to work on them. Otherwise, they'll fade away. Some you can pick up and put down every now and then if you've like I have 3 best friends that I grew up with, and we definitely don't live in the same area, but we can talk after months of being away from each other and like nothing has changed. You can have those type of relationships, but if you don't work on your relationships, it's going to be a lot harder. So staying connected to a community of faith grows our faith. Staying connected helps us grow our faith, but it also positions us to play a role in someone else's faith journey as well. So this is the part that I've been most excited and looking forward to talking about, because this is the biggest part of my journey here at BCC and being in Brownwood, is these kids in the back. Dang, I don't even know if I can. Give me a second. Getting asked to help start our youth ministry here was the best decision besides asking Jordan to marry me in my life. I was reluctant at first, but I was the first dummy to say yes. So yeah, Scotty was like, "Hey, we want to start a youth ministry. You want to take that on? You want to lead that?" And I was like, "I guess. I don't know what that's going to look like. I haven't been a teenager since, I don't know, 2012. So I don't know if I can connect with these kids." But then you start hanging out with them. You start hearing their stories. You get in a small group and you let them cut up a little bit, and you learn who they are, what they like, what they don't like, what they like to do. And then they become your boys. Like part of my small group is back there, sitting back there. They help run cameras. You got Seth back there, Ember. Like, I was the one that was supposed to be called to help change these kids' life, but they're the ones that changed mine. And they don't know this, but I think about them all the time. It's hard not to. These kids are amazing. Get to know some teenagers, y'all. They'll change your life. They might be crazy. They might say some stuff that might make you a little scared. But that's normal. We were all there at one point in our life. We were all a teenager saying the same things they were. Excuse me. You learn their slang so you know if they're saying something bad or not. But yeah, getting to know them has been a huge deal, and I love every minute of being with them. And some of them are getting ready for their senior year this year, and I'm not going to be okay. But it's all good because these relationships will keep going on. They don't stop when y'all graduate. I hope y'all know that. Just like Tim, your brother Seth, our relationship doesn't stop when y'all graduate. It just keeps going and it looks different. And Tim and Seth have been a huge part of my life because they're Scotty's kids. Man, I did not expect to be this emotional today. Scotty gave me the opportunity to invest in his kids, and that's huge. It's huge, and it means the world to me, and I know it means the world to him. He told me. So, relationships, man. Hold on to them. Grab hold of them. They help change your life. They help grow your faith. They change your world. Even if they're, you might run into people who are hard to deal with. They're hard to be around, or they're hard to. They might just have hard things going on in their life. Stick with it. I'm telling you, it changes everything when you're intentional and you're willing to get in the mess. Because dealing with teenagers is messy. Dealing with teenagers is messy, but it's good. So come sit with me. It's simply what God is telling us is come sit with me. Watch what I do. See how I do it. And that simple invite to someone else could become a catalyst in someone else's faith. You never know what happens with a simple invite. You never know what happens when you just invite someone to lunch, invite someone to dinner, invite someone to come play games one night. When we see God's faithfulness in someone else's life, it's easier to trust him with ours. We tell the youth all the time, your friends determine the direction of your life. The people that you surround yourself with influence where you're going. And that's the same for a 14-year-old. Like it's no different for a 14-year-old than a 40-year-old. Who you surround yourself with, they influence your life. And they can do the same with your faith. So I just want to ask, like, if you've unplugged, if you've removed yourself from the faith community, if you've been like some people that I know who have removed themselves from church because they've been burned, which I totally understand, I want to invite you to come and be real and try to reconnect. You're welcome here at Brownwood Community Church. Whether you're here in this room, online, have been watching us for a while, like you're welcome here. We want to get messy with you. We want to be in relationship with you. That's why we're called Brownwood Community Church, and that's why that C in BCC is lit up orange. It's to emphasize how we want to put an emphasis on community because it's what matters. Relationships matter. So if you didn't know, that's why the the sea is an orange, it's because we're putting an emphasis on that community. So yeah, if you've unplugged, it's time to reconnect. Let's reconnect. God uses community, and proximity matters. So before we go, I've just got 3 questions I want y'all to chew on and think on. Um, and these are questions that I've asked myself before, um, but I'm really glad that they kind of came back up again in this message today. Can you think of someone God providentially brought into your life at just the right time? I've got a lot. I've named a few in this room, but I've got plenty who are in this room and plenty who are at home watching. Um, but yeah, can you think of someone that God brought into your life at just the right time? And then you may be hesitant to acknowledge it, but have you played a role in someone else's life? Like I showed you, I'm not hesitant to acknowledge that I've helped play a role in someone else's life, but they've played a role in mine, whether they knew it or not. And then are those people whose stories shaped and strengthen your faith aware of the role that they played in your life? So have you ever mentioned this to them? Have you ever thanked them? Have you ever told them how much they mean to you? If you haven't, I would tell you, tell them. Tell them, text them, email them, call them, FaceTime them. It's 2022. We can talk to people on our phone and see their face at the same time. But let them know. Let them know what they mean to you and how much they've influenced your faith life. Because you never know, they might tell you the same thing. So God loves using relationships to help build and grow our faith. So let's pray. Lord, thank you for this church, this community, these amazing people, this group of friends. Lord, I pray that you would bless this room, those at home, those watching. Help us to lean on those providential relationships that we have in our lives. Help us to think of those people that maybe we haven't realized were those people in our lives. Help us to go out of our way to thank them and let them know that they were a huge part of who we are. Lord, I know that you've placed many in this room in my life for that reason, and I'm glad you allowed me to do the same for some in this room too. Lord, continue to walk with us. Help us to think about what we've heard today. I pray this all in your Son's holy name. Amen. All right, so I think we've got one more part of Faithful coming next week. So I hope y'all have a great Sunday, and we'll see y'all then.